kind of out and about in Arizona and thought I would just check in. I did a post today on my Instagram about lab testing, and I've talked about this before, but women ask me all the time, well, my doctor said this and my doctor said that. And here's the thing, the doctors that tell you that they don't need to do lab testing, in my opinion, are basically being lazy because what they don't want is they don't want to know the results because they don't know what to do with them. And if they don't test you, then there's no questions, right? Because you're not going to. The thing today is that patients can see their lab tests. And so when you can see your lab test results and they say to you, "Oh, your labs look normal," but you can turn around and say, "Well, they're normal, but they're at the bottom of normal and I feel horrible." Then they're like, "Oh, well, they don't know what to do with that." So a lot of doctors won't test just out of sheer laziness. And if you think about it, if you look at estrogen orally, there's two doses. Estrogen topically through like regular pharmacies, there's four doses. Progesterone, there's two doses. So there aren't many dosing options. But the question is, how did they come up with these doses? Well, they came up with the doses because they tested labs and they looked at the ranges and everything and how people felt. So when they tell you that they don't need to do lab testing, that it's worthless, how somehow they got to where they are today with the estrogen progesterone that they have on the market. It's because they tested. So they think they don't need to test anymore. The problem is with two doses of progesterone, how do you know that's going to work for you? And the reality is testosterone doesn't even come into the talk. DHEA doesn't come into the talk. And thyroid most of the time doesn't come into the talk. My artery scan score was 0. I'm working up the nerve to take the next step. Well, it's not nerve. I'm not going to bite you. I'm not going to yell at you or anything. I think the CAC score being 0 is amazing. Mine wasn't 0, and it was quite a shock a couple of years ago because I was freaking out about it. But it's good because that allowed me to change some supplementation and do things a little bit differently. I lost 40 pounds and I'm working on inflammation. So it's good that you did that. Thanks for buying my book. I appreciate that as well. The Hormone Balance Bible, you can get it on Amazon. Right now it's like $14 or something like that. Happy Sunday. If you have any questions, let me know. We're talking about lab testing, the labs you want to test. Free total testosterone, sex hormone binding globulin, estradiol, progesterone, DHEA, vitamin D, thyroid stimulating hormone, free T3, free T4, thyroid peroxidase antibodies. That's the basics. But then if you want to get into metabolic health, you can check insulin, glucose, C-reactive protein, homocysteine. You don't really need to do a lot of other stuff. You certainly can. I'm not a huge fan of uh, allergy testing for poop and stuff like that because those tests have been found to be somewhat unreliable. I also don't like saliva testing. Salivary testing is horribly inaccurate and it's a waste of your money. It's not covered by insurance. Um, 67, 12 years out for menopause, not HRT yet. I mean, HRT is an option. You don't have to do it. Obviously, it's your choice. It's something you can do. Sorry, I have this gnat that seems to be in love with me. It's probably my cologne. It is Creed, so I mean, come on, the gnats even love it. I'll have questions after I read your book. Well, it's 500 pages, so you can hopefully ask some questions before you get through the end of it. The book is also meant as a reference. It's not like a start to finish kind of book, although maybe it interests you and you can do it that way if you want. But it talks about the most common 12 hormone imbalances in women, gives you a lot of information. Sorry, my phone is bouncing around, but I'm trying to hold it and my shoulders get tired, so I'm switching back and forth. Any questions y'all have on lab testing right now? Why you're not getting tested? The kind of labs you get tested for, things like that. Um, you can do blood testing. You can do urine testing. Again, I wouldn't do salivary testing. I think it's kind of worthless. And most of the time, the docs that do salivary testing, they do it because they upcharge the labs. And being honest, they can't do lab testing with blood. Or see, that's the thing with physicians. I can order your blood through your insurance, and you don't have to pay for it. With some of these other folks that don't have a medical license, they'll send you to any lab test now, which is $300 or $350, and they don't tell you that you can run it through your lab. The reason they also do it is because they can upcharge the lab cost and they pass that on to you. If you're miserable, give me a call. 512-956-0296. We'll order your labs. We order them at a LabCorp Quest in your area. We'll run your insurance for the labs. Once you get them done, you'll see me within a week. We'll get you on the track to recovery. Total testosterone was 19. My doc says nothing he can do. Well, first of all, he's full of crap. And second of all, he's just being lazy. He should rephrase that and say he doesn't know what to do. Not that there's nothing he can do. He just doesn't know what to do. And I guess in a way, that's good to just admit that. But not giving you an option to me is also kind of bad. It's like, okay, there's nothing I know to do, but let me get you referred to somebody that does. It is difficult being a woman. I feel like I'm an honorary woman. I don't have the parts, but I am literally with women all the time. Even when I'm with my significant other, she has three girls. I'm with women constantly. I have three boys, but they're spread around the country and I don't get to see them all the time. And I have a daughter, but she's been indoctrinated into the man club, I think. But yeah, I am a. Can someone just bestow upon me the title of honorary woman, please? I don't know if I need to be like knighted with the sword and everything. Maybe a tampon. You've been. Oh, that's a good video. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I just want to have that nomination at least. Do steroids interfere with your HRT? My doctor wanted to put me on them for allergies. They can. They can suppress your cortisol and your DHEA, but you'd have to be on high doses long term. A short course of steroids probably wouldn't really affect your hormonal status. It's just for allergies and it's a short course, like maybe 1 to 2 weeks. It probably wouldn't affect you. I am an honorary woman. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, uniting me. I thank you. I'm going to take this on. I'm going to put it on Instagram. If you don't follow me over there, I post there every day as well. I do stories. I did questions yesterday. Shawn Tassone, MD. Um, it would be nice to have all 8,000 of you over there as well. And I really appreciate you sharing my videos because that's how a lot of women find me. And I find that a lot of women are struggling with these issues. So when you share and you get somebody else the information they need, I can't tell you how it makes me feel to know that I help somebody feel better when they see me in the office and they tell me how great they feel. I mean, it kind of makes it all worthwhile. And to know that you would share this makes me feel good too. Do you think you'll get certified in Maryland? I think Maryland is a part of the IMLCC, which is a consortium of states that has agreed to give out licenses if you're licensed in one of the like 35 other states. So, yes, I probably will. It's just a matter of time. Actually, I might already be licensed in Maryland, come to think of it. I don't remember. Go to my Instagram page on my second pinned post at the very top. And if you look down at the wording, there's all the states that I'm currently licensed in. I, I think I am in Maryland. I'm not sure. There's too many to remember, but go there and find out. I update on Instagram as well. I just added West Virginia last week, so I can add Maryland if it's a part of the consortium. I just turned on a friend to you, and she's in Alabama, and I'm licensed in Alabama, so I can help her if she needs help, which is always nice. Questions about lab testing or anything like that? I'm more than happy to answer any lab test questions. Obviously, can't give medical advice, but I can certainly answer questions. Any doctor that gaslights you and tells you that lab testing can't be done is one lying. If they say their insurance doesn't pay for it, they're lying. If they basically tell you that it makes no sense, they're just being lazy. And if they tell you that they can treat you based on your symptoms, they're also claiming to be psychic. So I don't see that working. I'm in Wisconsin and you are licensed. Yes, I am. I am. Wisconsin was one of the first states I was licensed in, actually, other than Texas and Arizona, Oklahoma. So estrogen less than 12 depends on part of the cycle that you're in. If you're menopausal, that is a menopausal level. However, days 1 through 5, when you're restarting, a level of 12 could be normal for those days, and so that's why you need somebody that knows where you are and what area of your cycle that you're in. 65, that's consistent with menopause. That's a normal level for menopause. It may suck, but it's a normal level, and you may not like it. And if you don't like it, we can fix it. Estrogen would clear that up in a jiff. I'm moving into the sun because I'm feeling like I'm getting dark, but now I feel like I look like a shadow creature. My doctor told me she couldn't do anything with the results of the lab tests. One, why the hell did she order them? Two, she's completely full of garbage. And three, why did she give you estradiol if there's nothing she can do? This is what I'm talking about. What that means in doctor language, I will interpret for you. That means I ordered the test because you made me, but I don't really give a shit what they say. I'm going to put you on this anyways. Great. Tried to say honorary, not binary. Non-binary or binary? I I understand the terms, but I really want to be an honorary female. I don't want to be a non-binary. I'll take it. I like it because hey, that's just another thing I can be. I have treated a lot of patients that are non-binary. I've treated a lot of trans patients. I had a couple that was actually each of them were going in the other direction with their assigned gender, so it was kind of interesting. I'm a live and let live kind of person. So um, I think as a GYN, we tend to be a little bit more left leaning on social issues, but I don't want to get into that at all. But I consider myself middle of the road independent. I just trust people's judgments and say, hey, if you want to do that, you do it. You do what you want to do. What are your thoughts on continuous HRT, both estrogen and progesterone versus rhythmic? I've just have done a shit ton of this on my podcast. I've done a bunch of it on Instagram. I just did a post on cyclical progesterone 3 or 5 days ago, somewhere in there on Instagram. This concept of cyclical progesterone is a completely made up thing by an OBGYN. She's got a bunch of silly coaches that follow her, and they basically made this concept up. The arguments that they put forward that cyclical progesterone, and I'm talking about women that are in menopause. Cyclical progesterone for perimenopause is a totally different thing. But if you're in menopause, their arguments for cyclical progesterone are that it mimics the natural physiology. Okay. Well, if you are mimicking the natural physiology is to do is menopause, right? Menopause is a natural process. So by the mere fact that they're giving you hormones anyways, totally contradicts their argument. Let's throw that argument out. Number two, if you do well with progesterone, meaning you sleep well, you feel calmer, you're less anxious, why wouldn't you want that all the time? Why would you only want it for 12 days out of the month? Let's throw that argument out. Then this same group, because I know who they are, this same group will bash oral contraceptives because they say it's not really a period. So it's chemical, it's a chemically induced period. Well, what the hell do you think cycling progesterone and menopause is doing? It's a chemical period. It's not a real period. Again, they are constantly contradicting themselves. It's a totally made up thing. They have no basis for it. I wouldn't do it if you're in menopause. And then lastly, if you're 65 years old, why the hell would you want to have a period? You are surrounded by lots of estrogen. Yeah, I am, and I like it. Men can be. I have a few male friends. Actually, my best friend is my college roommate. I don't see him enough. But I mostly, if I go to a party where there's a bunch of men, like say there's 100 men and 100 women, I will eventually, by the end of the evening, wind up with the women's group, which is was always hard being single in a way because all these women were probably already married. And then when you were dating, I would end up answering all these hormone questions. And then if we didn't hit it off, they would end up becoming patients. It was such a weird process dating. If you have the estrogen patch, will you need vaginal? If your estrogen levels are adequate with whatever form of replacement you're on, then you shouldn't need vaginal estrogen. Whatever, you are loved because you care. Well, I had this weird thing happen this morning. I was in the shower. I was listening to some podcast and they were talking about their mothers. And I just had this moment where I just like kind of started crying because I missed my mom. And it's weird. She's been gone like 22 years. And I think it's that kind of sensation that makes me gravitate more towards the female side because I do, we have to know our own in our own traumas. I think losing my mom 22 years ago, definitely a trauma. But it pushed me also to want to help women more, I think, because my mom suffered with ovarian cancer for 5 years and I really couldn't help her. I felt horribly inadequate, and that inadequacy I think pushed me now to want to help more people. So maybe you're right in a way that my injuries have definitely made me care more about women. But I mean, I have a daughter. I had a mom. I don't have any sisters, but I kind of feel like the women that I take care of are a part of my family. So take that for what you will. This has gone 15 minutes and it went by super fast. I don't like to let these go too long because I feel like I get boring. So I'm going to end it here. I hope y'all are doing well. I will be back tomorrow to post again. Hope y'all have a great weekend and a great Sunday.